Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I would like to share my experience after watching Christopher Nolan's most awaited movie, The Odyssey. So as we know, this movie is based on Greek mythology. So before we jump into the review, let's quickly revisit some of the background. So Greek mythology is a vast collection of interesting ancient stories featuring gods, heroes, monsters, kingdoms, epic adventures. So the gods frequently intervene in human lives, influencing wars, journeys, victories, and even some personal decisions as well. So the background of the Odyssey is the adventurous back home journey of a Greek king Odysseus after fighting the famous Trojan War fought between Greece and Troy. So what should have been a short voyage back home, it turns out to be a 10-year-old struggle filled with mythical creatures, supernatural encounters, dangerous temptations and extraordinary challenges. And the king and his soldiers, so they had to face a lot of challenges. So they're on their way back home. This review has three parts. Part one is, of course, the review of Odyssey. Second one is about the fascinating similarities which I personally observed between this story, the Odyssey, Trojan War Odyssey, and Indian epic Ramayana. The part 3 is my observation about how different ancient civilizations used different storytelling traditions to communicate moral values to the people and to make the social fabric intact. So stay with me till the end. The observation, so which I shared later in this video, are my personal interpretations based on my interest in history, religion, mythology, civilizations. So they are not strictly not intended to offend anybody, so or diminish any religion or culture. Okay, let's begin the review. So basically, this film is based on Homer's epic poem, the book The Odyssey, one of the oldest surviving literature written nearly 2,900 years to 3,000 years ago. So even like everyone else, I had been waiting for this movie ever since it was announced, knowing that it was filmed entirely on IMAX cameras, made the experience even more exciting. So for me, to begin with, for me, first 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes closely, so felt a little slow. So Nolan takes his time establishing the world after the Trojan War, and initially I kept wondering when the real journey would begin. So like everyone else, so even I felt boring. So even the same opinion, even I checked with my friends who watched with me. So they shared the same opinion. So initially 30-40 minutes, so it's boring. So but once Odysseus starts his voyage home, everything changes. From that point onwards, I was completely immersed into the story. So in fact, I was so absorbed into the movie that one of the persons sitting next to me politely asked me to put my phone in silent mode because I kept receiving Microsoft notifications from my teammates. So after that, I never looked back. Then I put my phone on silent mode. After that, I never looked at my phone again. So through the movie. Anyway, let's come back to the review. So in the entire movie, the mythical episodes are where the movie truly stands out. The sequence featuring the witch who transforms men into animals and then restores them back to humans was absolutely spine-chilling to me. Christopher Nolan presents the scene with a mystery and elegance. Rather than just relying on a visual spectacle, it genuinely gave me a goosebumps. So for me, the witch sequence was highlight of the entire movie. Then second part is then the encounter with one-eyed monster in a cave is another unforgettable sequence. The scale, the tension, the feeling of being trapped inside the monster cave. So everything about it was brilliantly executed. As Odysseus continues his journey, he gradually loses many of his loyal soldiers. Every island represents. So they face a lot of islands back home to Greece. So every island presents a new challenge. And every decision has consequences. So without revealing much spoilers, I can confidently say that last 40 minutes to 45 minutes are beautifully crafted. So the emotional stakes continues to rise. The anticipation keeps building. Instead of depending only on action, Christopher Nolan lets emotion, patience, intelligence, and the long-awaited homecoming divine drive the climax. So after watching Odysseus struggle for so many years, the ending feels emotionally earned. So my only criticism is the hero, our hero Matt Damon's portrayal of Odysseus. So I understand Christopher Nolan wanted to depict an exhausted battle king. But however, in several scenes, I personally felt so he lacked the commanding physical appeal. Like he looks very weak to me. So except that, so rest of the movie is absolutely stunning visuals. So there is nothing to. So if you enjoy, So I enjoy the movie. So at the beginning of the review, as I told, why it reminded me to think of Ramayana. One thing that stayed with me throughout the film was how familiar its storytelling felt. So as an Indian, the Trojan War backdrop and the Odyssey felt very similar to Indian epic Ramayana. So I'm not saying that those two stories are same, but one major parallel immediately stood out to me. In Ramayana, Ravana takes Sita. So it's a kidnapping Sita. Then the wife of Lord Rama. Similarly, the Trojan tradition, Paris takes Helen, the wife of Menelaus. In both stories, that single act becomes the catalyst of devastating war. Kingdoms are drawn into the conflict. Thousands of warriors lost their lives. Families are torn apart. Whether it is Lanka or Troy, one person's actions eventually bring destructions upon an entire kingdom. So that was the strongest parallel which I noticed between the Trojan War Odyssey and the Indian epic Ramayana. Beyond that, both epics share similar storytelling elements. If you see a king, long journey, supernatural beings, monsters, moral choices, sacrifice. Finally, while watching Odyssey, one thought triggered to me that left me thinking about something beyond cinema. When we look at many ancient civilizations like India, Greece, Egypt, Mesopotamia, so we notice they often communicated ideas about courage, loyalty, family system, justice, human nature through many myths, heroes, and epic stories. So they are basically called as polytheistic religions, meaning worshipping many gods. Later, Abraham religions came into picture. So they developed different kinds of the structure of religion. Only one God, prophets, revelation, sin, commandments. So which are monotheistic religions, meaning only one God. So it is all about appreciating how different civilizations develop different ways of preserving the values and explaining the human experience. So that thought made me appreciate Odyssey even more. So not just a movie, but as a glimpse into one humanity's oldest storytelling traditions. So finally, if you enjoy mythology, history, civilizations, epic storytelling, the movies that stay with long after the credits roll, the Odyssey is absolutely worth watching. So thanks for watching. Share. See you in the next video.